Imagine you're in college and you walk into your lecture hall and you're ready to start a class on some benign subject. You know, it's part of your required course in your like sociology degree or whatever. You're like you've decided to become a psychologist, and one of your required courses is like, oh, it's this boring little class. You have to take like 2 years of it. So you're in your second year of this class and you're like, oh whatever, like I'm ready for another day. I'm ready for another day. And then some dude comes in and asks what class you're in, and the professor tells him what class it is. And the guy's like, yeah, and like whips out a knife. He's like, I'm gonna stab you now. He's got the scissors. He's like, he's stabbing you. You might think that this sounds like a cartoon world. Would it change your perspective on that, on the likelihood of that happening at all, if I told you that the subject of the class was gender studies? Oh my god, y'all. Oh my god, y'all. No, a teacher didn't do it. Like, the guy who walked into the classroom stabbed the teacher. So, yeah. This is in Canada, also. Like, you think, oh, wow, America is where all the violence happens. You know, we talk about a trans 18-year-old getting murdered in South Carolina. That makes sense. But this one is from Canada. So, professor and 2 students are stabbed in a gender issues class at Canadian University. The wounds were non-life-threatening, adding that the motive for the attack at the University of Waterloo was not immediately clear. Oh, what are you talking about? I'm gonna lose it. I am so sorry. The laughter does not feel appropriate for this topic, but... What do you mean? Oh my god. Okay. Oh my god. Hold on. I just gotta collect myself for a second here, okay? I just need a minute. Because that's the stupidest shit I've ever heard. Anyway, let's continue reading. The guy basically walked in and asked the teacher if he was the professor, and he said yeah, and then he pulled out a knife, and after that everybody just ran out. Someone says, I ran out, and after we went outside, there was a kid that was stabbed. He was bleeding from his arm. I don't know what happened to the professor. This person says that there were about 40 students in the class at the time. So the Canadian police have now said, in a more recent article, that the university graduate who stabbed these people was, quote, motivated by hate over, quote, gender identity. Giovanni Viaba Ailman, a 24-year-old recent graduate originally from Ecuador, was hit with multiple charges Thursday for the triple stabbing at University of Waterloo. Police have now declared it a hate-motivated incident since the university confirmed the targeted professor was Katie Fulfer, a, quote, feminist philosopher, whose courses have also included, quote, adventures in gender studies. Investigators have reason to believe that this was a planned and targeted attack motivated by hate related to gender expression and gender identity. The queer community was targeted broadly and at large here. We believe that the class subject was of interest to the subject, and that was the origins of what transpired here. So yeah, I guess in Canada, they're slightly more willing to call it a hate crime. Yeah, I guess, like, he walked in and is like, are you Katie Fulfer? Stab! Stab! Gender studies is often just the unironic version of what is a woman. Right, gender studies is different from queer studies because gender studies tends to focus on women and their historical oppression, whereas queer studies is a newer thing. But this professor did actually have a feminist philosopher, adventures in queer studies. Like, they do have a specific queer feminism thing going on. Of course, this must be a product of the gender ideology narrative. Like, I mean, yeah, that is what it is. You keep accusing people of pushing all this woke shit in the colleges. Oh, you're brainwashing all these young people into thinking that they're trans. So I'm gonna go stab a teacher and a couple of students for trying to learn a thing. I am going to stab some people who are trying to learn a thing. Oh, we have some additional commentary here. One witness, James Chow, this is Giovanni, by the way. This is the person who did the stabbing. James Chow told how the attacker came in near the end of the class and seemed, quote, happy when the professor confirmed that the class was about gender. Chow said, quote, while the man was listening to the reply, he put down his backpack in front of him at his feet and he pulled out a knife. The thing that disgusts me the most is this vile, mischievous smile that he had on his face. And immediately the professor's face just turned to, like, pure fear. The fact that his body language changed when the professor answered that this is the gender philosophy class, I think this was motivated by hatred of trans people and queer people in general. Like, he literally, like, walked in and was like, is this... He's doing this. He's doing like, is this, the gender studies class? I hate that my glasses look so much like his, actually. That's not what I meant to do. He's like, actually, is this the gender studies class? And then like, you thought, today's your unlucky day, sucker. And like, and then just starts stabbing. And then I started stabbing. Yeah, I know, I look good in glasses, I know. Yeah, I'm betting it's the same smirk that Michael Knowles had in the like, we just want to eradicate transgenderism from public life. Anyway, and it's like, why were you even there? These are pictures from his graduation. He graduated last year. Why did you come back and stab people? Like, why? Oh, and here, this is great. A friend of Giovanni said that Giovanni would tell the friend that he was against university initiatives like Drag Storytime or painting the road in Pride rainbow colors. He was very opposed to certain U Waterloo initiative, this friend said, while claiming that it was, quote, mild and like any normal conservative man. To my knowledge, he had no hatred towards anybody. He maintained the really shy, kind of laid back... Oh, he maintained about the... Yeah, so this friend is like, oh, I don't think he hated anybody. He was shy and kind of held back. Gio just had something go wrong. A few screws go loose. I really don't think it's hate motivated. I think that's ableist, right? Like if you're like, yeah, this friend with the derpy face was actually just too fucking R-word to be able to make good choices. Like that's what this reads like to me. Oh, he was just a quiet, weird guy. I don't think it's hate motivated. You know, he just stabbed a couple people after explicitly asking if this was the gender studies class. Yeah, imagine, people can hide their values and bigotry behind being, like, quiet and reserved. Incredible. Does he have a chromosomal disorder? I don't know. That's why I'm trying not to make fun of his appearance, because I'm like, I don't know if he has an issue. So yeah, they're charging him. He did not, at the time, have a criminal record. He's now being charged with 3 counts of aggravated assault, 4 counts of assault with a weapon, and 2 counts of possession of a weapon for a dangerous purpose. I guess it's a good thing that there was some retribution, but on the other hand, like, it could have been a shooting. Like, that could have been 40 dead students and a dead teacher. Like, it could have been bad. It could have been much worse. It's already bad, obviously. A stabbing is not great, but it's like, we're lucky. Yeah, no attempted murder. I guess he stabbed one person in the arm, so maybe he didn't try hard enough for it to be attempted murder. Like, I guess they would have to look into the case further. Maybe attempted murder would be hard to prove. You know how that works. Like, if they have a hard time proving the biggest thing, then they'll try to get you for something smaller and then just have you assigned, like, the maximum amount of time that lesser charge can get you, so that you still functionally get punished for the equivalent of attempted murder. But, like, if it's harder to make the attempted murder charge stick, then. So it's good to see that we're getting some response to this. Maybe at least they care about prosecution in Canada, so that's great. Yeah, exactly. At least it was Canada and he did not have a rifle. Oh, Canada. We're 5 years behind the US in how fucked up we are to people. Like, it will get bad there. And it is bad there. There's already violence and shit happening in Canada, so let's not kid ourselves about safe places. And yeah, we have terrible gun laws here too. Yeah, this person just happened to not have a gun, and it is accelerating. It's getting like a lot worse in a lot shorter period of time. We're on an exponential curve where it seems like, oh, things are going slow, and then suddenly, like, oh wow, things are getting bad really fast. Oh, things are getting really bad really fast. Oh, things are getting really bad really fast. Like, the curve changes to being exponential, and it goes up at the end, like, dramatically. So it's kind of gonna feel like, oh, things are really pretty bad, and then suddenly there are gonna be actual camps. The camps are already built. We have more prisons than anyone else. The infrastructure exists already. This needs to be said more. That's a good point, Mama. Like, when we say camps, it's not likely that it's gonna be literal camps at this stage of American development. It's gonna be, there's plenty of prison space, and they're building more prisons, and the more reforms there are with, like, marijuana reform, the fewer people there are in prisons, and so these private prisons are going, oh, we're gonna shut down. We're threatening the government by saying, oh, we're gonna shut down and turn all these turn all these prisoners over to you and make you figure it out, unless, yeah, now we will keep our prison open if you make certain things illegal. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. Make sure that we still have plenty of slaves in our prisons to make things and pay them pennies on the dollar. Yeah, gotta fill those for-profit cells with somebody. Might as well be trans people. Make it federally illegal to be trans in some way. Make it federally illegal to cross-dress, you know? Drag. Any public performance in drag is now inappropriate for children, and, you know, lawsuits or whatever, like, yeah.
Hello, it's July. Thank you to my patrons, especially Tiago Nascimento, Mersh Rolvag, Amanda B., Michelle Frattaroli, Danielle McDonald, Sarah A., Spooky Heather Sylvia, Athiette, Robin Olson, Michelle Winter, Wellington Marcus, Jamie Jam, Past Null Infinity, Desi Quiche, Nova, Suzanne Maynard, Mr. Atheist, Elizabeth Bartell, Sojo, and Kevin Young.